So the year was like 2012, I want to say. My celly at the time, his name is Little C. He's like a brother to me, literally. I look at him as if he was my little brother. He'd been around my family his whole life. A younger cousin of mine who is 2 or 3 years, I think he's 3 years younger than me, was actually best friends with Little C when they were kids. And all through junior high and high school, my Aunt Sue actually took care of him, bought his school clothes. So the point is, he's always been real close to my family, and I've known him. And it was kind of a bad thing because we kind of became the dynamic duo. I mean, we just stayed into some shit. We was always into some shit, one way or another. And yeah, I was probably about 2.5 going on 3 years. I was working on the third year of my 10-year bid, but I'd already done the previous 9. And I was just in a funk. I was in a funk for probably the first 8.5 years of that bid. The depression, and I don't want to make excuses, but my mental health was not good. And so I was a pillhead. I was getting from the prison one Neurontin 600 and 2 Ultram or Tramadols. I forget what milligram they were. But I was getting 1 Neurontin and 2 Tramadol every single pill call. And there's 3 pill calls a day. So I'm getting 6 Ultrams and 3 Neurotins every day. And I would trade my Neurotins. I would trade my 3 600s for 4 Ultrams because I liked the Ultrams. So in effect, I'm getting 10 Ultrams for free every day from the penitentiary. And I used to walk around with sandwich baggies full of these fucking things. And I would just eat them. And it got to the points where I was eating 15 of them a day, sometimes more. And on this particular, well, let me back up, man. I used to call myself this dude's karma, but looking back on it, I did some piece of shit. I did a piece of shit move. What happened was, I'm a Chicago Bears fan. I don't remember who we were playing, but we lost. And I didn't even mean to do it. I kind of just like kicked, like, fuck. And my leg got caught on my antenna cord. And long story short, I broke my TV. So there's this dude, Red. This is why I say it was a piece of shit move. I was alright with Red. I didn't know about his case. Nobody actually did. He was newer to the block. He had been in the block for probably 6-7 months by this time. Fairly new, but long enough to where people are starting to know the dude a little what, you know. And he used to play chess and cards and shit like that. I just knew him from being in the block with him for these months. Well, he used to rent his TV out. He was known to rent his TV out. So when I broke my TV, I know I can order one from commissary or I got to reorder one. Either way, I'm not going to have it in my possession for probably a good solid 2 weeks. Because it takes time. When you buy it, if you order it, you got to wait for it to get shipped to you. And then you got to wait for the prison to pass it out to you. They don't give it to you as soon as it comes. They got to send you a pass and all that shit. Plus, you're not the only one there getting property. So it takes a while. And so I'm ordering a TV, but in the meantime, I need one. So I go holler at Red. And I work a deal out with Red. I gave him some weed and I gave him some Ultrams. And basically I paid him for 1 whole month or until I get my TV. So I got this man's TV, and now by this time I'd had it for maybe 2-3 weeks, and I you get they so like if I'm getting my TV tomorrow, I'll get my pass today. The COs will do mail, and then they'll go around and they'll pass out all the passes for tomorrow. So I get my pass. I know tomorrow I'm going to get my TV. Well, within the 3 weeks that I had had his TV, it come out that he was an offender, a cho-cho. I don't want to get flagged. So I did some kind of dope fiend shit. I ran out of some weed. And my neighbor needed a TV and he had some weed. Long story short, I sold Red's TV to my neighbor for a nice little bag of weed. So I'm higher than a motherfucker. I had probably eaten a dozen Tramadols, Ultrams, and I'm smoking weed now. I'm crushed. I'm sitting in my cell, and I'm sitting on the locker box, and I'm kind of leaning on the wall like this. And I don't even know what my celly little C was doing. I don't know. I was nodding. I was nodding out off them pills. Well, when I come to, little C and this, well, there's two guys in my cell. The one is an older black dude who had done 20 years. His last name was Washington. I can't remember. I want to say Leon, but that might be wrong. I don't remember. Leon, Lenny, some shit. But they were both from Toledo. It was an older black guy and his nephew. His nephew's name was Ron or Rob. Anyway, I nod out, and when I come to, the nephew is standing in my door, the doorway of my cell, with a fucking knife in his hand, and his uncle and my celly got a hold of each other by the shirt, and I'm out in the locker box leaning against the wall, and they're literally standing above me, and they got a hold of each other and they're arguing, and I don't even know what's being said. I'm just coming back from a nod, and I shake it up and I hop up, and dude drops his pivot on me with this knife. Well, what had happened was the older black guy was fucking Red. Red was his punk, and I just sold his punk's TV for some pot. And he come in my cell to kill me. Little C stopped it. He was obviously there to save me because, like I said, I was in a nod. They could have cut my head off, and I wouldn't even have been able to defend myself. We ended up chalking him. We went back and forth. It got heated. No hands were thrown. When people in the block seen the commotion, a bunch of gang of Toledo guys from the city just came running up there and kind of intervened and shit, because they seen I was known to play with knives. This dude's definitely known to play with knives, and he's got one out, and his uncle just got off fucking death row, so he's a killer. It could have went real, real bad. Real, real quick. It just got squashed. Red had to charge it to the game with the understanding that from this point on, no, we ain't gonna shoot at him no more. That's your punk. Do what you do. And I think about that shit a lot because I hear these stories about this dude being killed. One that used to mess with me a lot is I wasn't there, but this guy, you guys might have heard about it. It was on the Bluebird on the transport bus. There was this white guy, and he was a whack job. He was doing life already for killing his girlfriend's mother. I don't know if he killed I think he killed his girlfriend and her mom, but it might have been just the mother. Anyway, he gets to the joint, and his very first cellie he gets in his home, in his parent institution, I believe it was Lebanon. He beats his cellie to death with a cinder block. Where the fuck he got a cinder block at, I don't know, but he did. Maybe he knocked it loose in his wall. I've seen that happen. But either way, he beat his cellie to death with the brick. Then they ride him to Lucasville, and while he's on the bus going to Lucasville for murder, he fucking... So when you get on a transport bus, they put the leg irons on you, they put the handcuffs on you, and then there's this chain. They call it a belly chain. It wraps around your belly, and your handcuffs get cuffed to it. And typically, before they handcuff you, they make you loop arms with somebody and then handcuff. Well, for some reason or another, this dude was by himself. Maybe they just didn't have enough people. And he slides the belly chain down and steps out of it. So now he's still cuffed, but he's got this belly chain. And he walks up to this older black guy who was sitting on the bus with him and just starts accusing him of being a cho-cho, a predator. Whether or not dude was, I don't know. But the dude just starts saying he is. And then he commenced to choking him with that chain. And it took I was in Mansfield with a dude that was on that bus. And he said it took the guy like 10 minutes to kill him because he wasn't dying. He was choking him out, but he wasn't dying. And he said it got to the point where dude was like hitting on his throat, trying to like crush his throat. And he died. And now dude's in OSP, I believe. Or Luke. One or the other. And I think about all those murders I talked about that happened in Toledo while I was there. And those murders was going on while my situation happened. It was during that time. So me getting killed would have just been another one. It would have just been another one. And although I didn't wake up the next morning and immediately change my life and change my ways and have a premonition, I do believe that is the spark that caused the fire that started me on my journey to care about myself and then eventually love myself again. And I don't mean to get corny and sound weird or none of that type of shit, y'all. I'm just telling you, man, I was on a really, really, really rough ride. And on that day, it could have all ended. And I'm just really, really thankful to God that it didn't. So that's my story for today, y'all. I hope you guys liked it. If you did, please hit the like and subscribe button. Share the video. Let's try to get up to that 500 mark. We're getting there. We're getting close, y'all. Until next time, I appreciate you guys tuning in. Stay safe. This is the Hoodie Man.